different languages. For more than 1 billion viewers each week.
MagMongoSlade.
One of the best yet.
Well, Monday Night Raw was quite the presentation. Let's get into it. Not much in the way of news and notes. We will pepper some of the notes throughout the episode because I'm going to cut short a lot of the things I don't really care about because Triple H insists on booking things that I don't care about. Seth Rollins comes out to talk about his future and the future of the World Heavyweight Championship. And essentially he says that he feels like a liar because he says that every title defense makes him stronger. But after the last title defense, well, he's got a grade 2 tear in his MCL, something in his meniscus. He's going to be out 3 or 4 months. Then he says if it was up to him, he'd keep going. But it's not up to him. So he's got to take this thing day by day. And he is then interrupted by Gunther, who says, "You and I are a lot alike." I'm like, oh my God. Oh, you're a lot like me. Oh no, they're doing you like, we're a lot alike. You're like me. We're so similar. Oh my God. Anyway, he says that they've been avoiding each other. And he says he came out here to let him know what he thinks of him. And the way that they're a lot alike is they're both labeled workhorse champions that bring dignity and respect and honor to their championships. But then he says he's sad to hear that Seth Rollins is not going to make it to WrestleMania. And yet he's going to win the Royal Rumble and challenge Seth Rollins. Then he's going to target his knee. He's going to target his back. He's going to target anything that's not 100% and win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins was interrupted during his promo. He says, if you let me finish, I would have told you that I don't give a damn what the doctors think. I don't give a damn what the doctors say. I will keep my promise and I will carry this championship with me into WrestleMania. Now, strong segment, really strong segment between Seth Rollins and Gunther besides the Bulls. Yeah, Jesus. The you and I are a lot alike. Outside of that, very strong segment. Gunther laying the gauntlet down. That as soon as he wins, you know who he's going for. You know what he's doing. He's letting it be known. The only problem I had with this promo is how ridiculous it is that you have a guy standing there on one leg and you have a Money in the Bank winner walking around. That is the only thing that really kind of threw me for a loop. And I'm like, okay, clearly they're going to have Damian Priest clobber Seth Rollins in the head with the briefcase or whatever while he's distracted with Gunther, and he's going to pin him, turn Seth Rollins into a liar, and he's not going to be the world champion. Damian Priest is going to be the world champion. And they didn't do that. Instead, they left it up in the air about whether Seth Rollins can even continue. So he's not going to cough up the title, but he also cannot defend it. So we're in this weird situation here. So clearly he's not wrestling at the Royal Rumble. He's not wrestling at Elimination Chamber because all that time is going to be needed for him to prepare for WrestleMania. So what's this about? Isn't this the reason that World Heavyweight Championship was created? Because, Roman Reigns was disappearing for weeks at a time? Isn't that the reason this belt was created? This belt was created because Roman Reigns was taking the belt and disappearing. So now Seth Rollins gets to take the belt and disappear. What's the point? What is the point? I understand you saying like, hey, we're going to make a real decision next week, or I got to wait to see what the doctors say next week, and I'll let you guys know just to get through the Royal Rumble. But if you tell me that this guy has a tear in his MCL and something in his meniscus, and then you turn around and say, yeah, he might miss WrestleMania, can't really wrestle for 3 or 4 months, but we're not going to strip him of the title. We're not going to do the Money in the Bank cash in, which could have protected him at the very least. He didn't really need to take but one bump and get hit in the head with the briefcase. That was pretty much it. And get the other leg hooked. And we didn't even do that either. The reason this belt existed is because Roman Reigns. Look, let's keep it moving. So New Day attacks Imperium while Gunther is standing there. They decide to have that match. New Day versus Imperium. The match was thrown out, double count out, double disqualification or something or other. They have a huge brawl outside the ring. Vinci just came back and they're already brawling outside the ring again. At this point, somebody's put through a table. I forgot who. I didn't write it down. And New Day are like, yeah, we're tough guys now. What do you mean? You know, so they cut a promo later on talking about, you know, people not respecting the New Day, not understanding they're one of the top tag teams of all time. You know, or as Xavier would say, they're the best tag team of all time. They do this. And Kofi Kingston says people got it mixed up with the unicorn horns and the bootios and all this kind of stuff. They can get busy when they want to. And then he says that they've dealt with the underlings. Now it's time for the big boss. Kofi Kingston challenges Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship next week. Like that. Kofi, Gunther for the IC title. I like that. I like anything that doesn't have New Day. You know, Kofi as a single, good. New Day as a tag team, I don't know. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. We'll talk about WWE 2K or whatever later. All right, because I know that's the next thing that came up. So Judgment Day has Rhea Ripley. She's upset about Awesome Truth and DIY and all this crap, right? And she wants everybody to focus on their individual feuds and their individual jobs or whatever. But she's also, folks, you know, complaining about Damian Priest. Damian Priest is, you know, preoccupied with Drew McIntyre. R-Truth is running around, you know, waving money at everybody. So Damian Priest says he's tired of Rhea making matches on their behalf. You know, stay out of Adam Pearce's office. So then she gets on Finn Balor's case about him smiling too much and him, you know, not seeing the vicious side of him. And then she wants Dominic and JD McDonough to actually do some work around here and finish up the job of handling The Miz. So Furry Boot Dominic Mysterio defeated The Miz with some help from Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Finn Balor had promised that he was going to show his vicious side in this match, and he helped Dominic win. Apparently, Dominic's furry boots were inspired by Perro Aguayo, a wrestler in Mexico, which is fine. They just were very jarring. He had boots like the Berserker. I was just like, why is he wearing furry boots? Anyway, the match was what it was. Dominic and Miz, interesting characters. R-Truth, of course, is floating around. After the match, The Miz is getting beat up by Judgment Day, specifically Finn Balor. And then DIY comes out there, and boy, oh boy. There was not a gasp. It was not only was it not a pop, it was kind of an anti-pop. It was like if, you know, somebody walked in the room that you literally have either A, never seen before, or B, you were hoping you never see again. It was that kind of situation. This is worse than what Tommaso Ciampa was getting by himself. All right? Like, Ciampa was getting okay reactions, you know? Not good, but okay, passable. But this DIY, oh, it's a disaster. They're not getting anything. Oh, what a disaster this is. So they come on, them and The Miz, they fight off Judgment Day. It's announced that next week, DIY will wrestle for the tag team belts. They'll probably win them. And they still won't be over. This sucks. And part of it is because DIY's theme song is trash. It is absolute trash. But there's no reason to care about these guys. What is the story of DIY? Why would anybody care about them? We didn't even really see their formation. They just got thrown together again. Like, and you're supposed to know, like, because he's yelling about NXT on commentary. So you're supposed to know that these guys were a tag team in NXT. It's like, but that was years ago. There's more footage of them murdering each other that is more recent than them being DIY. How far back do you really want people to go? Do I have to do a research project? This is the same issue I had with Tony Khan. Do I have to do a research project? Because the most recent NXTs, these guys are trying to murder each other. You have to go back even further than that. You have to go back to what, 2018, 2017? Of them being tag team partners? Come on, man. That was a long time ago. And then if you're going to do this, you have to like rekindle the friendship and restart the story and everything. Because this thing is expired. But who cares about these fucking guys? That shit sucks. Ivy Nile is backstage. She's talking about beating up Valhalla. And the Creeds try to give her a little bit of a pep talk, but she says that she got this. She got it handled. No issues. She actually does go out there and defeat Valhalla with a little help from Maxine Dupree. This match was dreadful. It is not Ivy Nile's fault. Valhalla is not good. Not now, as you see why she's a manager. And it is a whole lot of not good. I appreciate them giving them an opportunity, and I appreciate them keeping it short. But it was not good. It was not good at all. It was trash. Please never do this again. This is the worst Valhalla match I've seen in a while. The thing with Maxine wasn't even this bad. They just have no chemistry. Nia Jax comes out with a microphone because she has to basically do a stand-up speech talking about squashing Becky and Rhea Ripley and how she's going to crush everybody's WrestleMania dreams. Becky Lynch comes out there, tells Nia Jax nobody likes her, and if she doesn't win the Rumble, she's going to at least enjoy watching Nia lose, which doesn't sound like anything Becky Lynch would say. It's kind of lacking in confidence, don't you think? Bayley actually comes up. I don't know where she came from, and says she's there to announce that she's going to win the Royal Rumble, and that she came to WWE to Raw looking for Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley did not appear. She's calling herself the Mommy Slayer. Mommy Slayer. Bayley then cut herself off to cheap shot Becky Lynch before there was a brawl between the three of them. I don't care about this. The Women's Rumble has no smoke on it. You know, like you're supposed to have a nice little rotisserie going at this point when it comes to these Royal Rumble matches, but these Women's Royal Rumble matches, boy, there ain't nothing behind them. There is nothing behind these Women's Royal. There's nothing behind them. Chad Gable defeated Ivar. I told you, right? I mean, I'm sorry. It's the other way around. Scratch that, flip it the other way around. Ivar defeated Chad Gable. I told you last week, maybe told you 2 weeks ago, that Ivar is not going anywhere. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one. Who is supposed to get over in this situation? Ivar, 2 weeks ago, beat Otis by himself with no help. Last week, he lost to Akira Tozawa. This week, he beats Chad Gable with help from Valhalla. What are we trying to say here about Ivar? What are we saying here about Alpha Academy? What is the point of this shit? Why is this on my television? This is something you put on main event. Put this shit on main event. All right? I don't care about this. I don't care about any of these people involved. Chad Gable is so far off the beaten path. He swore on his child that he was going to be the Intercontinental Champion. Had people gassed off that promo. People were very excited about that run. And now it's over? It's just over. I mean, I knew it was over. But now it's just over. Just throw our hands in the air. Bronson Reed challenged Jey Uso to a match. Who cares? Who cares? All right. No. Bronson Reed could have been on this show winning matches if that's what we're going to do. Instead, we got fucking Ivar every week and, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Stupid. I forgot. Oh, you know what? I'll just continue. I'll talk about it later. So, the infamous Cody Rhodes CM Punk promo. This thing was immaculate. Very well done. It was structured like a match. There was even a big comeback. There was heat. There was respect. There was heat. There was conflict. It was very well done. So, Cody says, he asked CM Punk what he want to talk about. CM Punk says he wants to talk about his dad. But Punk started the thing saying that he wanted to enjoy the moment and hope that they could still be friends come Sunday morning. Then he says he wants to talk about Dusty. 2007, Dusty gives him a phone call, says, look out for my son. He's coming down to OVW. He said he watched Cody over the years. So it wasn't a hard job. Cody never got into any trouble. He watched Cody go from, you know, essentially from nothing to being a main event guy, and that he's very proud of Cody. And he says that he tells this story because now he feels like he's breaking his promise because he's going to have to eliminate Cody out of the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes said that many people see Dusty when they think of him. It's a big shadow that has been cast over him. And he said he's become the light in that shadow, and that he showed up to OVW with no matches under his belt, a complete nepotism hire, and CM Punk did not treat him sourly. He treated him like a peer. He said that's why this is so bittersweet that he has to defeat CM Punk in the Royal Rumble. Punk replies that he can keep business and personal separate. Can Cody do that? Then says that he had to fight and scratch for everything that he ever got, while he watched Cody fight and scratch in his own way, but fighting and scratching under the burden of Dusty's shadow. He said that they have different paths, but they have the same goal. Then he says, I didn't have the famous dad. My dad was blue collar. My dad was an electrician. I guess that makes me more of the American dream than you. So now Cody is hot. And Cody is salty at this point, all right? That was a good bar from CM Punk, too. That was a good bar. So Cody Rhodes says, talks about the pipe bomb. You inspired so many people. A lot of people came into the business because of that pipe bomb. And he says that I'm one of the people that you inspired. Then he says that when you left, you didn't light the torch and pass it. You threw it down. I picked it up. Everything that you said, I did. I guess that makes me more CM Punk than you. So now at this point they're kind of getting a little closer to each other. And then CM Punk says, so you have, miraculously carried this company for 2 years, being the cover of the video game and looking forward to being in the main event of WrestleMania. And then here comes a bigger star to take everything away from you. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. And that was a nice little burn too, because this is one of those, you and me are a lot alike, but they didn't say that, right? They didn't actually say you and me are a lot alike. They're just saying what happened to me is going to happen to you. Like you think you're destined to main event WrestleMania because you're on the cover of the video game and you're a huge star, but then somebody from the past is going to eclipse you and take your spot. So Cody says, look, he can't go backwards. He can only go forwards, and going forwards means he can only go through CM Punk. And then they stare down, and the stare down is tense, is very mature. It's a little exaggerated with the heavy breathing, because I don't think they're that angry at each other, but they're staring at each other. Neither one of them is really giving an inch. The crowd is rumbling. Some of them are chanting for Cody. Some of them are chanting for CM Punk. It was a great moment. Fire ass moment. And I love this thing. This thing was phenomenal. This thing was great. This is all CM Punk has done since he came back. He's had almost no physicality. I think he's had the 2 or 3 matches he had with Dominic on house shows. Outside of that, he's been doing nothing but fire ass Royal Rumble promos. All right, really, really selling the Royal Rumble. This was amazing. This was a great send-off. They should have closed the show with this. I understand why they didn't. But they should have closed the show with this. Now, if they don't put CM Punk on last anymore, because the first time they did it, they ended up with an overrun. So now they started putting him in later. In the middle of the show, so that he can have more time to do his business. And then Cody, of course, same thing. Cody usually dominates the 9 o'clock hour, the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hour. This time it was the 9 o'clock hour. This was tremendous. This was very well done. I don't know anybody who can say that this was bad. It was the right amount of everything. It kept both guys babyface. And maybe you could say maybe I'm more CM Punk than you was kind of like, but I got it. I understood it. That was really good. And they followed that very extremely strong promo with Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Man, this is DIY the match. You talk about people didn't care about DIY when they came out. My word. It was quite as a library for this match. I couldn't wait for this to be over. Zoe Stark wins the match. Who cares? Damage Control then jumps KC Squared. I don't even remember what KC Squared was even doing in the ring. It was that stupid. Because Damage Control are going to have a tag team championship match. They went backstage. They got confronted by Natty and Tegan. I don't know why. Natty has to have a certain amount of TV time. I guess it's in her contract. So Adam Pearce says that he doesn't want Damage Control floating around, causing problems. They were brought there for a reason. And then Damage Control says once we win the tag team titles, we'll be here all the time. He is then, he being Adam Pearce, pronouns, pal, is confronted by Jinder Mahal and Indus Sher, who wants to know what is the next step for him. The guy who confronted The Rock, the guy who injured Seth Rollins, what is next for him and his guys? And Adam Pearce says he'll talk to them in his office. So they're not ending Raw on a strong note. They're really not. The main event of the evening, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. So Damian Priest cut a promo earlier in the night when he was kind of interrupted by R-Truth, who was trying to give him some more money, saying that this is the money for the t-shirts. I guess he's going to deliver money to Damian Priest every week now. Damian Priest told him to beat it. Now is not the time. He's got to focus. And Truth is still upset about JD McDonough being a member of the Judgment Day. He doesn't like him. But, we're moving on past that. Damian Priest said that he's tired of hearing about Drew McIntyre being the top guy in 2020. That's when everybody was struggling. When everybody came back, what happened? Drew couldn't beat Roman. Drew couldn't beat Gunther. Now Drew can't beat Seth Rollins. And it says that Drew cannot beat him either. Later, Drew McIntyre defends his record by saying that Damian Priest is right, but he's tired of people putting a negative spin on this. There were guys like him who were the constant in WWE. There were people out there saying, you saved our lives. I'm pretty sure nobody said that. You wrestling Randy Orton saved my life. I said nobody ever. Anyway, he said that Damian Priest is not mentally strong enough to be the world heavyweight champion. And everybody's talking about finishing their story or completing their destiny, but there's only one chosen one in WWE. Their main event was a solid match. It was a really good match. I don't think that people were as into it as they probably should have been because there's no stakes. Like, there's no reason outside of these two guys just don't like each other that they're having a match. There's nothing on the line. So there that is. Drew McIntyre got Falcon arrowed on the desk, but it didn't break. Like, I don't know what was up with that because Drew was like a solid 270. R-Truth interrupted the match trying to give Damian Priest some money in the middle of the match. Priest pushed him away. Truth, because he means well, is continually floating around asking what's the code to the briefcase so that he could put the money in the briefcase, but he's distracting the referee. When Damian Priest had Drew McIntyre beat, he's distracting Drew McIntyre, he's distracting Damian Priest, and him distracting Damian Priest is what cost Damian Priest the match. Claymore, 1, 2, 3, Damian Priest loses. So not only did he not cash in the Money in the Bank, he lost in the main event. What kind of booking is this for the guy who won Money in the Bank? What kind of booking is this? This is stupid. So a match for no reason that Damian Priest turns around and lost because of a distraction Claymore. And you've got R-Truth silliness in the main event of the show. No other members of Judgment Day came out there. No Finn Balor, no Dominic Mysterio, nobody else to stop R-Truth from making a mess of this thing. Why? What is the point of those guys if they can't come out there and it's like, where was, I know that, Rhea Ripley says that, she doesn't really want them distracted by the Drew McIntyre thing. But once R-Truth is out there floating around, somebody's got to do something. Now, in the story, if you follow the story, you see that a lot of this is Damian Priest's own fault. All right. Damian Priest is the one who sort of incentivized R-Truth to hang around. He's the guy who, kind of quote unquote invited R-Truth into Judgment Day. He was the guy, the first guy who get a cut, first guy who got paid. So he was okay with R-Truth being there. He has been the one that's been preoccupied with Drew McIntyre. When Rhea Ripley says, look, we got to focus on the tag team titles, he's like, no. El Hijo del Money in the Bank. Wait, that doesn't make sense. That's not proper. That's not Spanish. That would be the son of Money in the Bank. Now, El Jefe, the Judgment Day, Senor El Money in the Bank. He's the one who's been distracted by all of this stuff. So it's basically like Damian Priest has been hoisted upon his own petard, which is, good heel stuff. But Drew McIntyre is a heel too. This is a heel program, which makes it even more ridiculous. Is you have two heels fighting each other in the main event, and babyface Truth is the one causing the distractions. This match certainly should have happened before Cody and Punk. Definitely. Because I don't think it got the punch that it needed. Once that thing had come and gone, I think people had gotten what they wanted out of this show. So instead, they ended the show with R-Truth silliness. Before we really get into wrapping the show up, the show was fine. I liked the Cody and Punk thing. Clearly was very good. Gunther and Seth Rollins was also very good. The main event was a solid match. Didn't hate it. But this 3 hours was just chocked full of stuff I don't really care for. So Finn Balor apparently is in a contract dispute. This is a big thing in WWE now, apparently, where Drew McIntyre apparently has not re-signed the contract. Neither has Finn Balor. There's somebody else too whose contract will be expiring soon, and WWE has not re-signed them yet. This stuff has been floating around for several weeks. Of course, we don't know for sure. There's just no way to positively know whether these guys are re-signed or they're negotiating or what's going on with them. According to the reports, or what Raj Giri has said, that Finn Balor's contract will expire actually shortly after WrestleMania. So you've got several weeks left. Drew McIntyre, again, doesn't have much time left. And I don't see how they don't re-sign unless WWE does not want them to re-sign. And maybe you have Endeavor going to step in and make the argument that these guys make too much money. Now, again, it's different ownership, and they're starting to do different things. I don't think they'll get down to the nitty-gritty and doing stuff like that by saying, you're paying your wrestlers too much money, we're going to cut some of these guys, or we're just going to let some of these contracts lapse. I don't think they would do that, because I don't think they do that with UFC, So I don't think they'll get into the muck and mire and start trying to cut guys' contracts and stuff like that. But I could tell that if these guys have not been re-signed, either there's something very specific that is happening, or they don't see these guys as being the cornerstones of the show. Unfortunately, these guys are on the show every week. Like Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre are major focus of the show. They're on the show every week. And Triple H is literally using them. So, and if he's the head of talent relations, he's making the decisions. There has to be a Triple H excuse to why he hasn't signed these people to contracts yet. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. All right, so let's talk about WWE 2K24. 40 years of WrestleMania. A lot of Hulkamania all over this show. So the cover star is Cody Rhodes. He's the cover of the standard edition, while Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair are the stars of the deluxe edition, and they're actually sharing the cover. Interesting decision to have them share the cover, because there's no reason why you wouldn't just put Rhea on the cover. Look, everybody knows I'm a huge Bianca mark. I am. I'm unabashed in that. It has been that since 2018, maybe. Unabashed Bianca mark. But she's not the champion. She's also, almost not even the top star anymore. She's been sidelined quite a bit in favor of Damage Control and Io Shirai and all of them. Putting her on the cover is just kind of like, well, she's in tons of commercials around here. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's in like Slim Jim commercials. She got a TV show coming out on Hulu. We gotta kind of put her out there as part of our marketing gimmick, but we're not going to really do much with her. It feels like Rhea Ripley is really like the star of that thing. And when you look at how they present Rhea Ripley on the show, then look at how they present Bianca on the show. Bianca doesn't lose a lot of matches, but she's not featured, while Rhea Ripley is often featured. She wasn't featured tonight, which is a problem, but she's often featured. Cody Rhodes being a star for the standard edition. All right, that's fine. That works out for me. I don't have no problem. I'm not going to play the game. Well, I probably will play it, but I'm not going to buy it because I don't have a system and all that stuff. So I know people made fun of like the AI and the commercial and stuff like that. And people were saying that they were using AI art for the posters and everything. And one of the guys who actually worked on the poster said, no, it's not AI art. I literally drew that by hand. They just didn't like his art. But all of that was said because there was a Hulk Hogan tease. As Hulk Hogan has been there to talk about the Royal Rumble and everything Hulkamania, you know, who embodies the spirit of Hulkamania. You remind me a lot of Hulkamania. Hulkamania will never die, brother. He said something about you never know who might show up. And he was pointing at himself and says, I might have one more in me. And that led to the internet exploding, saying that Hulk Hogan is teasing a Royal Rumble appearance. It's like, it's probably a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think literally he's 66 or something like that. I'm almost certain Hulk Hogan is not going to appear in the Royal Rumble. It is not going to happen. He likely couldn't even get medically cleared to do it. He's got like, how many different new hips do we have? How many different somebody says if he comes down there, it'd be like the Iron Sheik in the gimmick battle royal, which is exactly what it would be. He can't take a bump. Like, all you have to do is just think about this. You don't have to get too upset about it. Just think. Hulk Hogan is not going to go out there and fall down and take bumps. All right? It's dumb. And if they do that, I would be surprised. I would be very surprised if the Hulkster was an entrant in the Royal Rumble match. I would be super surprised, but I don't think so. You know, some people still hate Hulk Hogan, even though he's converted to Christianity, or he got baptized and all that and saved a young girl's life, and everybody's just kind of still hating Hulk Hogan. Look, that's fine. I'm not going to be too upset about it. But there was a lot of Hulk Hogan on this show. A lot of the 40 years of WrestleMania, all that stuff. Okay, that's fine. All right, so that was Monday Night Raw. Thank everybody for your time. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment as much as I did, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.